r/rules horror. Posted by you/Dyllixx. Surviving your employment at Angel's Bar and Grill, Part 1? Prologue. It's your first day at Angel's Bar and Grill. After looking for a job to start saving up cash for post-secondary education, you ended up here. They were surprisingly swift in replying to your application, as you only dropped off your resume a week ago. You finished your interview, and got hired as a server. You're expected to start this Wednesday. During your in-person training shift with Allison, another server at Angel's, she hands you a note. You question her, but the only thing you get is an ominous warning to read it after you leave. Eventually, your shift ends and you head home. Besides from a few odd occurrences with the staff, the place seems like a good start towards your post-secondary education. Once you get home, you get settled back in and prepare to sleep. The restaurant is a little out of the way, so it took you a while to get back. Just as you doze off, you remember Allison's note and get out of bed to check it out before you retire for the day. You find it in your bag after a little digging, and decide to read it. Read this note carefully. If you open this and you are still inside Angel's, put this note away and act like nothing happened. Read this after your shift is over. This is not a joke. This is not a trick. Your life is now at certain risk because you stepped foot into this restaurant. If you follow my instructions, you may just last long enough to survive and forget about all of this. For the next 3 months of your employment, you'll go through hell. This place is not what it seems. Angel's is a front for something much worse. There is something here, controlling everything. If you mess up even once, especially around Victoria, your fate is sealed. Take it from someone who has been here for almost a year, you do not want to mess up. You'll suffer a fate worse than death. You have 2 options currently. 1. Continue to work at Angel's Bar and Grill for 3 months, endure the trauma, and hopefully survive with my guidance. 2. Kill yourself now. If you try to run away or tell someone about what is happening at Angel's, you will have wished you ended it quickly. You will never be alone anymore. If you are willing to fight for your life, I will do my best to help you. On the next pages are a summarized list of rules you need to follow to stay alive at Angel's. If you survive until Saturday, I will give you another note with more in-depth instructions and clarifications. Rules for surviving in Angel's Bar and Grill. 1A. Outside of the kitchen and back room, Angel's Bar and Grill is a completely normal job. The customers are human, and everything outside of the restaurant is normal. Do not mention a single thing you have seen while working to anyone. Not even your closest friends and family. If you do, it won't be long before it comes for you. 1B. If you run into a customer asking to apply for a job here, ask for their resume. If they have it on hand, reassure them they will get a call from us if we are interested, and take their resume. Hide the resume until the end of your shift, then destroy it once you get home. It is for the best. If they do not have it, then ask them to bring it next time, and pray that it ends up in the right hands. 2. Outside of your shifts, do not come to Angel's Bar and Grill. There is only one location, but you should stay as far away as possible. You will want as much time as you can get outside of your 4 shifts a week to recover mentally. You will need it for what's to come. 3. Be careful with what you say. Once you are inside the building, there is not a single thing that is safe. Not even your own mind. Do not give out or show any personal information or identification. Not even when you are alone. You can use your phone and devices safely, as long as they do not display any information mentioned before. If it gets a hold of your information, it will make your life hell. There may be times when your devices stop working. Refer to Relate. 4. Be careful who you talk to. Most of the workers here are not human. Not anymore. The only people you can trust are Demon the dishwasher, me, Daryl, Grace, and Allison the servers, Charlie the host, and Adam the cook. I am helping these 5 others survive as well. You can trust them, but never ever speak about what I have told you in my notes. If you do so, there will be no hope for the others who follow you here. 5. To keep work going as normal, casual and work talk is safe and encouraged between co-workers. Keep all communications with those not listed previously to as minimum as possible. Do what you need to do and move on. If you are too quiet, they will grow suspicious of you, so I recommend making small talk when you feel prepared. Listed below are some key points to remember when talking to specific people. You are most likely going to run into everyone at least once per week, so all of this will be extremely important. 5A. When talking to the cooks, look for Adam first. If Adam is not present, you need to take your chances with the others. Here is what you need to do to safely make it through an interaction with the cooks. Victoria is the in-store manager, but also works as a cook when needed. You can find her around the restaurant, talking with customers and monitoring workflow. She works almost every day and has the answers for all of the customers' questions. She has a short fuse, so even a single mess-up could mean severe punishment. Best to avoid her when possible. Dan keeps quiet most of the time. He tends to stare at people directly when not working. If he is staring at you, continue with your business as usual. He should not do anything if you ignore him. It would be safe to not to look back until he stops. Carlos is shorter than the other cooks, and will often tell dark and offensive jokes. It is best to laugh at them all, no matter how gruesome or disturbing they are. He will get aggressive if you do not. Zachary should be at a distance as much as possible. He, just like Victoria, have a short fuse. If you hear Zachary yelling in the kitchen, avoid becoming part of the situation. Lastly, Frederick. Frederick keeps to himself most of the time. He should not be a problem. 5b. When talking to the hosts, look for Charlie first. If Charlie is not present, remember these tips when talking to the others. Bianca likes to gossip with the servers and other hosts. She often talks nonsense, so play along and act like you know what she is talking about. Jessica is very friendly with everyone, but do not drop your guard. She is not one of us. Scarlett loves animals and will always try and interact with customers who bring in dogs. Let her do her thing. Ash is a taller male. He should not be too much of a problem. Eric is the last host to worry about. He has a bubbly personality and likes to make small talk. Do your best to avoid this. 5c. When talking to the servers, look for either Allison, Grace, or Daryl. If they are not present, remember these tips when talking to the others. Tim is a basic man. Besides that, he is one of the heaviest smokers here. Ignore the smell of cigarettes, and don't comment on it. Pearl is easily angered by customers and other workers. Try your best to stay out of reach of her anger. Rachel is quiet when not talking to customers. She is not usually a problem. Olivia is very basic. No special qualities or habits to mention about her. She should not be a problem either. 5d. Feel free to converse with the dishwasher whenever you drop off dirty dishes, if he is working. I am the dishwasher, Demon, as well as the author of this note. I will be fairly upbeat during my shifts and will occasionally be talking with the other employees. Usually they just start up a conversation with me. I am only scheduled to work weekends, as this is our busiest time over the week. Do not ask me any questions related to what I have wrote you here. If I am to be brought down, there may not be hope for anyone else here. 5e. A portion of our workforce are smokers or vapors, and will go out back to have a smoke break more at least once a day. If you are outside having taking a rest or taking the trash out, it is best to avoid those mentioned above as much as possible, lest you risk the consequences. 5f. Anyone I have listed off above are not human. Keep up the oblivious act, and you will survive. Ignore any foul stenches coming from those who are not human. They will pass shortly. If you hear someone mention the overseer, let me, or someone you know is human, know before your shift ends. 6a. The workers are not the only things to watch out for while on shifts. There are a few other threats you should be made aware of to make sure you have the best chance of survival. 6b. The building is aware. Nothing you do in or around the building goes unseen, and it doesn't just watch with the cameras. As mentioned before, never ever expose personal identification while you are working. If you need first aid for any reason during work, do not touch anything in the first aid kits. They are not safe for human consumption. I have band-aids and gauze near my workspace, the dish pit. If you ever see someone retrieving something from the first aid kits, do not ask questions. Anyone who uses something in the first aid kits is not human. 6c. If you are in the back rooms and you smell something terrible, avoid getting close to that area. The most common place that smell comes from is the drainage hole near the main area of the back room. There is something living in the building, and it is best not to tempt it. If the drainage pipe smells, and it is not already covered by a cloth, grab one from the boiler room and place it over the hole. If you are using a tap or the drink machine and a goopy liquid starts to come out instead of the drink, close the opening and wait. It will leave, eventually. If it starts to come out from the drainage pipe or anywhere else that you cannot stop, quickly find the spray bottle near the band-aids and dish pit and spray it. The sludge does not like it, and will flee. After it has left, carry on like nothing happened. Do not touch the sludge, under any circumstance. 60. If you are tasked with taking out the garbage, take as much time as you can while doing this. This task is one of the safest ones, and will allow you a short mental break before you return to your tasks. Simply take the trash out to the back of the restaurant, and deposit it into the dumpster. The same goes for cardboard, as the cardboard dumpster is next to it. Do not question why the dumpsters are empty. Do not question why trash and cardboard suddenly disappear when you close the lids. Do not, under any circumstance, enter the dumpsters. It is impossible to tell where they will take you. 6e. If you are tasked to retrieve something in the second freezer, do so as quickly as you can. Do not question the mass of flesh in the corner of the freezer, and do not ask your coworkers about it. Do not approach it. It cannot hurt you, but do not tempt it. Once you have found what you need, leave and close the door behind you. 7. Never eat the food from angels. If you are offered any food during your shift, do not eat it. Kindly refuse and return to your work. It would be best not to consume anything from here. I would recommend bringing a filled water bottle and a few snacks for your shift. Outside food is allowed, so long as it is consumed out of sight from customers and away from our food. 8. There will usually be music playing inside of the kitchen, and I will usually have my music on as well in my workspace. If you ever enter the back rooms and hear static from the kitchen and dish pit, do not interact with any of the cooks or me during that time. Do not question why they are standing perfectly still and not breathing. Do not worry about me during this time, and do not try to interact with me. Once the music continues, everything will go back to normal. Your devices may also be affected during this time. Do not turn on your devices until the static ends. 9. If you are to ever interact with the staff that you know are not human, they may not notice you for a short period of time. If you attempt to speak with one of them and they do not respond, wait a moment before trying again. They sometimes have trouble with touch, hearing, and eyesight. This is normal. 10. If an employee ever gets wet, or is burned, do not attempt to help them. Do not help them even if their burn marks look serious. Do not question why their skin looks like it will fall off after it gets wet. They will handle it themselves. Continue on with your business. If you happen to be burned while at work, there is burn cream with the band-aids in my workspace. 11. Upon ending your shift, sign out as usual, and leave the building as soon as you can. If you are leaving at the scheduled time, then you may go home. None of the staff will follow you home. If you feel like you are being followed, ignore the feeling and continue home, it will leave eventually. If you feel a sense of impending doom, then quickly run to the closest area with other people. It will not dare follow you any further, and you will have saved yourself from a gruesome fate. After that point, you may return home as normal. I would recommend taking public transit home, as there will always be at least one other person on board. 12. During your time at Angels, you may hear an occasional whisper in your ear while working. Check to see if someone is trying to speak with you. If no one is there, ignore it and continue with your work. On your way home, you may hear the whispers more frequently. Do your best to ignore them. Do not listen to what they are saying. Once you return home, do your best to fall asleep as soon as possible, even if it is for a nap. The longer you stay awake, the worse it gets. Do not give in to their demands. 13. If you are to ever see one of the human workers outside of work, do not converse with them unless it is not related to angels. It is possible to communicate through paper messages, but only when they are not watching you. Do not try to communicate these issues over the internet. I would recommend writing down your questions and thoughts after you wake up. Do not write them before you go to sleep after your shift. If you do, they will know you are trying to communicate with someone, and it won't take long before it arrives. It does not like when you talk about angels, so quickly destroy your writing, and pray that it will overlook your crime. I know this is a lot, but you will need all of this information to survive. If you can follow these rules, and survive for 3 months, you will be free from this hellhole. I trust that you have been trained for everything else related to your job, so I don't need to say anything more. Once you finish reading this note, please destroy it after you memorize everything. I wish you luck, and I hope to see you still with us on Saturday. Demon.